today we are going to continue our study of nonfiction text. Real quick, who can tell me what a nonfiction text feature is? Let's see what you remember from yesterday. Come on, girls.
A non-fiction text is something that really happened and it's like history.
Okay, that's true. What do we know about text features, though? Name me one of the text features.
Caption.
Caption, and it does what?
And it tells us what's going on in the picture or image.
Traylon.
Image.
Image. So when we say image, that's another name for a what? Photograph. Okay, so image, picture, photograph, all of that type stuff. Glossary is another thing. Hey, one at a time. So a glossary, why is the glossary important, Lauren? New vocabulary words that you haven't learned yet. Absolutely right. Okay, so you brought up, what else? Subheading. What does a subheading do? Why is it important? So a subheading, so if I talk about the title of a book, the title of a book is a type of heading. So if there's a subheading, that's like a smaller title or a less important title that also adds to what it is the story is talking about.
So like it's a book. So like
No, it gives you even more. Yes, that's the subtitle.
Oh, it's
right
just
there.
like in a chapter book?
Yes. So the title.
It's like the chapter.
Listen. So a title is what the book is called altogether. But you have different subheadings within the story that tells you that an important section of the book is getting ready to come up. So we're going to open it up to page 3 and look at what's actually on there. And we're going to start marking this up together, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't want anybody to do anything with the highlighters yet. We're going to talk about each piece and why it's important, okay? A little bit later. Okay. All right, so for right now, so we know we talked about our photographs already, and this is George Washington Carver, who is our famous inventor that we talked about, and he did a lot with sweet potatoes and peanuts, right?
Yeah.
So now we have our photograph that we just went ahead and encircled to let us know that that's important. What else do we see on the page again?
A table of contents.
And that does what, Grace?
It tells you what page, what you're looking for, and it tells you the number of the page where it's at.
Okay. So, for example, if we turn to page 9, flip to page 9. It says making a difference on page 9. So this is exactly what we're talking about. So if we read in the table of contents, making a difference is on page 9, then when we turn to page 9, that's exactly what we should see on that page. Up at the top. And as you can see, it's right there. Okay?
It's just like with the chapter book.
One second. Just like the chapter book, yes. So it works the same way for a nonfiction text. Okay? Also, if we start reading, it says, in 1896, Carver went to Alabama to help the poor farmers there. These farmers had a big problem. Their cotton crops were smaller every year, so the farmers had less and less money. Does anybody see a bold print word there? Jayla, yes. Can you help me out with that? On page 9. Turn to page 9.
Making a big difference.
Yes.
And crack. And crack.
Okay, so Looking at what we just read, we see that the word crops is highlighted. So when it's a bold print word, why is that important again, Lauren? Take your time.
We gotta hide like that, like you.
Yes, I want you to do everything on it that I'm doing, so it can help you remember. Okay, so why is the bold print important? Again, so it's a word that we don't know and haven't learned yet, right?
And know that it has means.
And it's also in the glossary, and it helps you to know that's the word we need to pay attention to. Y'all are both right about that, okay? So if we go to our glossary at the back of the book, which is on page 16, we see the word crops right there.
And it says slaves.
Okay, so Mason, can you read to me what the word crops means on page 16? The amount of plants or plant products gathered in one season. Okay, very good. So, just in it exactly, it says that you can find that information on page 9. That's how.
Can I read the caption?
1 second. That's how our nonfiction text features are able to help us. Yes, so we should be highlighting this particular definition, crops. So it says plants grown for food or other uses. The amount of plants or plant products gathered in one season. Okay? So.
See, it started as a it started as this, like it's like at the top, like the one. This one.
You're absolutely right. So, she just pointed out, Lauren just pointed out that there is also a subheading, just like in the chapter book. In the chapter book, there is one, and also in the nonfiction text.
Needles for cops right there.
All right, so I want to make sure everybody's caught up on that, and then I want to ask you some questions
I can't even get
in a second in order to figure out whether we are understanding everything that's going on right now. So we'll take about 30 seconds and make sure that we're caught up, and then I want to ask those questions. All right, so I need everybody facing forward at the board. If you don't have everything, we'll go back over it. Right now, I want to ask you some questions about this. So, I want to ask you, what features in the text help you find important information about what you are reading? We just talked about a couple of them. So I need y'all to tell me, what are some things that are already helping us understand more about George Washington Carver? Traylon, give me one example.
You have the question again?
Okay, yes. What features in the text help you find important information about what you are reading?
We have to highlight this.
Okay. What features did we just talk about, Drayla?
Text features?
Which one? Give me one.
Title?
So we just talked about the titles. That helps you understand what the book is about, first of all. What's the topic of the book? What's another one, Grace?
Footprint.
So we used the photographs. We circled some photographs that were important to help us know more information we could find in the story. We also looked at bold print. Why is the bold print important, Lauren?
That bold print is something that's like a photograph.
Okay, so the bold print could contain words that are in the photograph or in the caption, but remember we want to look at bold words, the bold words that will tell us this is important words that we should know. New vocabulary that we haven't learned yet.
On page 15 of the
Okay, what did you find on page 15? Everybody turn to page 15. Everybody turn to page 15.
Not on the floor. He died. Carver donated $33,000 to Tucker CG Institute. Page 13.
Okay. So we're looking at where it says, not long before he died, Carver donated $33,000 to the Tuskegee Institute to carry on research. On the research he began. That would be almost $450,000 today.
So 450.
Mhm.
Like when did he?
So you holding it up?
When did he die?
He died when he was in his late 70s. But for right now, let's make sure we're focused on what we're talking about.
I want to know which year.
We can talk about that a little bit later. So, this information right here tells us that he was able to make enough money with doing what he did in order to help other people and other farmers.
He just poked a hole with his.
He was able to use some of that money in order to help to teach the students at the college that he was working at. So it told us yesterday that he was working at Iowa State as a professor, and then he also went on to work at the Tuskegee Institute, which is located further south. Okay. All right. So
You have to highlight glossary.
since we're highlighting glossary, how does the glossary help you again?
With the vocabulary.
With the
What the
vocabulary.
word means.
Okay.
With the word should.
All right. What are some other important things that stick out to you? What are some other things that you think are important? Let's look at page 4, where we're talking about the map. At the beginning of the story, let's turn to page 4 all together. Page number 4, at the beginning.
So we go.
Wait a minute. All right, so at the beginning, we can color in these states right here: Iowa, Missouri, Alabama, and Kansas.
Because he went to school.
Yes, he went to high school in Kansas, and then he taught in Iowa State, went to college. He went to college in Iowa,
Nebraska.
and in Missouri, that's where he was first born. In Iowa, he was first born,
Mississippi.
and he ended up going to Kansas to go to high school. But remember, when he went to Kansas, who remembers why he couldn't go to college in Kansas?
Because it only allowed white people.
Rio.
Because it only allowed white people.
It only allowed white people to attend the college at the time. So he ended up going to Kansas. He ended up going to college in Iowa instead. So these 4 states that are highlighted tell us important information about that. And it says Carver grew up.
Cool. Why doesn't it say where it was born?
Carver grew up in Missouri studied in Kansas and Iowa, and worked in Alabama. Those are all of the things that we see right here in this map. Okay? So